People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Well, that is strange. This is strange.
And what is going on, everybody? We are live again. Flex, World War III almost happened last week. Right after we got off, Trump bombs Iran. Israel's bombing Iran. Trump's saying, hey, that's it. We bombed you. Now we're going to have some peace, which is like kind of weird, you know? And it's just like all of a sudden both sides are agreeing to this. I don't know what's going on. Oh, shoot. I can hear you. You got to mute your phone, dude.
My bad.
It's all good, man.
I thought I did.
No.
I thought I did.
It's all good, man. I like hearing my own voice, I guess. So it's all good, dude. What do you think's going on?
You think I know the drill by now to mute my phone. It's been a very interesting week for me because I'm just kind of like trying to figure this shit out, and I can't. And
Right.
I can't, and I'm calling people. I said to Greg, I'm going to be very nasty today.
Uh-oh.
I'm calling out the Trump supporters, being like, you guys just are flip-flopping between he's not a war president, but we needed to do this. And,
Well,
and
come
I'm
on.
like, guys,
It's just optics. It's optics, man.
I'm no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like, you know, and some of the people that I follow just to see, like conservative Ant, who's got his mouth always full with Trump balls in his mouth.
Oh.
Was even saying like, oh, well, I don't know what to say about this now. Let it play out. And then all of a sudden you give it a couple days and, you know, it's been a couple days, you know, Trump is, you know, there's a meme of him swearing now, you know, it's like a rap song that.
Yeah. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
This is your world leader acting like this. Plan or no
Hey.
plan.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I don't know, man. I don't mind it, but when it comes to war and the fact that you're going to send people over there, are you sending your kids over there or any? See, I'm getting all jacked up right now.
Oh, dude,
no,
tell me
none
about
of
it.
these politicians are sending any of their people over there to fight these wars. So
Right.
that's my rant. I left it for the beginning. Done.
Yeah.
How are you, Greg?
No, I hear you. I'm totally in that boat. As soon as I heard that Trump bombed Iran, I got so fucking pissed, man. Like I was playing a video game with my son, and then I just like had to put the controller down, and I had to like sit there and think about this for a little bit.
Yeah,
And
did
I'm
the same
like,
thing.
You know, because I'm like, if this isn't war, an act of war, I don't know what is. You know, like, what if Iran bombed a part of the United States? Would we just be like, okay, that's not war. That's just them taking some stuff out, and they had to do it for the greater good. Would we think that? No. We think,
No.
what the hell was that for? Right?
You can't bomb somebody and in the same breath say, now it's time for peace. Like
Right.
literally the same day. And like, I listen to me. I'm stumbling over my words and I don't stumble over my words. But at this point, I don't know what to say anymore with all this, you know, and I don't know what the plan is. I don't give a fuck about the plan. You know, I don't care about any of this shit anymore because this is getting ridiculous because people are getting killed. Innocent people are going to be getting killed. You're sending your military. We have people in our chat that are in military, you know, that might get, you know, told to go over there. And nothing here is changing. Where's the tax cuts? Where's the Doge spending stuff? Where's any of that stuff? Like, where's all that stuff?
Yeah. And,
Where's
and
the
then-
Epstein files?
And so, like, to Danielson's point, so Danielson, you know, he's a supporter of Trump. He's, you know, staying with the plan. He's trusting that plan. And, you know, like, part of me really wants this plan to happen. And, like,
Yes,
I really hope
I would
that
too.
we're both wrong on this, right?
Listen, I totally agree. I'd love to be wrong on this, but I lost friends and clients over Trump. You know, when I supported him, I ended up moving out here because of all that bullshit, where it was just like I was looked at like I was an idiot for being a supporter of this guy.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what to say because none of it makes sense. I thought you had to have the approval of Congress, you know, to do what he did. And people are like, the supporters are like, well, it's the, you know, act going to war. No, you went to war.
Oh, like the Wars Act or something like that.
Yeah. And
Right,
there's
and
videos of Trump talking about Obama being, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's doing this, doing that, doing
Yeah.
this. You just,
Yeah, he doesn't know how to negotiate. Like, I could end this war in one phone call, but he never does. And like, you do have to, if you're going to attack a country, you have to kind of get approval from Congress. I think that's in the Constitution. I'm pretty sure. And Thomas Massey is one of those, more MAGA than MAGA Republicans, and he's even calling out Trump and all this stuff. And then now you're hearing that Donald Trump has like $1 million campaigns to get him removed from office. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, if Trump was really on our side and on the side of the Constitution, why would he want to get rid of Thomas Massey? Because that's not just optics to me, because he's actually paying people to do this.
he's not the same guy that was in his first term where he said fake news media, I'm cleaning the swamp out. The storm is coming.
Right.
It's not the same dude. And when I say same dude, I don't know if he's been replaced or not. I don't care anymore.
Right.
I don't care. It could be a robot under there. It could be a lizard.
I wanted to get your
I
opinion on that.
I don't give two fucks anymore about that. It's not the same dude.
Did you see this, that he got replaced? So this was him at the NATO summit. People were saying, dude, he's too short. Macron is 5'8", according to Google.
I did see that. And he's supposed to be 6'3".
Right. And so like people are drawing the line. He's like, he's way too short for this this little skit that's going on here. I'll bring us in. But yeah, there's like additional info on this too. Like
and grant you, there's my voice cracking again.
Hey!
Grant you, there are body doubles,
right.
For sure. Maybe he's not safe to go to these places. I get it. I just don't want it anymore.
No,
that's
I totally understand.
I don't, other than coming on here and, get to see Greg once a week and we have a good time. And I'm reading the chat now. Someone had just mentioned, Lionheart said, I'm 80% black pill, 20% hope I'm wrong on things like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
I
don't
like,
blame you.
I know, like, so Bannison's saying, like, when's the last time Congress declared war? Obama did it 250 times without approval, all this stuff. It's like, yeah, Trump is supposed to be different. Like, that was the deep state, right? Like, Trump was supposed to get rid of all this shit. And, like, he didn't. It's, like, still the same. That's the argument.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing this. MAGA is not pro-war. Last time I checked.
That's what he campaigned on. He campaigned on being a no-war president. He campaigned on cleaning up shit. He campaigned on getting rid of taxes. And that's why the tariffs come in place. And I get why he was doing that at first, because I'm sitting there saying, well, tariffs before is how countries made their money. You don't have to tax your citizens to death. Exactly. But the fact of the matter is that Iran is one of the last countries out in the Middle East that doesn't have a central bank system, a Rothschild bank system. Mm-hmm. They want regime change, which you said, Greg, you posted that as well. And I've been keeping up with all the posts you've been doing. And usually I comment back and I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah, Trump wrote out MEGA, make Iran great again.
Yeah.
Now, and one thing that, people are kind of like pointing out is that the Q posts have pointed out that something was going to happen in Iran, right? And there was like a lot of booms that are happening around this date Delta timestamp. So like, what are the coincidences there? But my thing is like, of course it's a coincidence or not a coincidence, because the Q post is revelation of the method of exactly what they're going to do. And to me, it's all getting us prepared for this one world government, dude. Like, they look like they're going to free Iran, but how do we really know? Like, honestly, like, I know one person from Iran, and he said that the government sucked. So, like, I trust his opinion because, like, I knew him for a little bit. Like, he was at school, and I was like, okay, well, maybe the government does suck over there. But honestly, like, I don't trust anything that a government official tells me about another country. Like, I'm sorry.
They suck everywhere. All these governments are on their knees blowing the game. Ooh. That's exactly what's going on. It's just like it's not going to get better. You cannot trust your government, and we shouldn't be putting all our faith in our government ever. I've said in the past, they're on the same side, and one side will take turns beating the living shit out of us and making life difficult, as it is with prices, with food and unaffordable housing. And I'm talking just in Canada. Like, we're People are putting their flags up here because July 1st is Canada Day. And I took a walk today and I almost wanted to give a thumbs down to everyone that had a flag up saying, we're not the same country. We're not the same country. And you know, when your freedom ends, folks, as soon as you pop out of your mom's belly and you have your birth certificate signed,
oh yeah,
you're not free. You're used as chattel. And that's why when you get a bill and a paycheck, it says pay to the order of in capital letters, because you are now chattel to them.
Well, so like here's one thing that, because I'm in the bucket of I don't trust anybody. Okay, like if you're in the media, I don't trust you. If you're in government, I definitely don't trust you. And so this whole thing, the only way that I could see that if Trump was the good guy and he's like rooting out all of these bad guys and all that stuff, he went over to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Iran, like supposedly all these countries that were like in opposition or are in opposition to Israel. He did not invite Netanyahu to the discussions. So that's when you had all these stories in the mainstream media saying Trump has turned his back on Israel. Israel's going alone on this. Like Israel's fighting their own war. And then, you know, with Hamas and all that stuff. But then like, that's where I can see maybe there was a deal done, you know, and I'm going to go on the little hopium side of things right now. Okay. I'm going to just kind of explain where I could see this going.
Yeah.
Is
fair enough.
If Trump did make a deal with Iran and other countries while he was over in the Middle East, like what would that deal look like? And maybe he made a deal to say, hey, I'm going to have to attack something because this needs to look real. You need to give me some sites. You need to get all your shit out of there and make sure it's ready for go time, because when this goes, like I'm going to send over B-52s, whatever. You're not going to go with, or you're not going to know what hit you. Israel did plant all of those devices, though. So that's there was like this secret Operation Rising Lion, where they did secretly go over there and plant certain drones and technologies and blew up the bases before Donald Trump did. But with the massive bombs, because they're making a big deal about this. They came out with like Pete Hegseth saying like there is nothing left. It is absolutely decimated. It's a parking lot. Trump is posting the video of Bomb Iran, you know, like that Beach Boys song. I mean, it was a parody of the song. So what if Trump made this deal and said, hey, Iran, move your stuff. We're going to bomb you, but it's all a frickin' show. Right? And like this whole Q thing was saying like what makes a movie good actors, you know, how do you sell this story to Israel and maybe ultimately betray them, right? Because you know this is what Israel wants. But where I kind of lose the step here is the sleeper cells. And that's really kind of where I wanted to go tonight, is talk about activating sleeper cells, stuff that's already happened. But you're getting stories from both sides of the media. You're getting Trump's administration saying Iran sleeper cells are going to be activated. You have Iranian news coming out saying that Israel sleeper cells are going to do something to blame it on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, before you get into that, Greg, one question I want to ask all the folks out there is, if you're bombing nuclear sites, how come there's no radiation spill out or fallout, decontamination? Like, how does that work? How are you bombing somewhere where you have nuclear, and when you're throwing bombs on this, there's no fallout? Nothing's contaminated. Like, you
That's a good point.
and I actually was thinking about that. And as much as I don't like this dude, Andrew Tate came out and said the same thing recently, where he was just like, how does that? So that's why when we had that chat with the guys we were on their show a couple weeks ago.
Oh, the Daily Conspiracy Podcast. Yeah.
And we talked about, are nuclear weapons actually real? Because when you're bombing these areas, there's no spill out. There's nothing.
Right.
Where's the radiation going? Underground? Like that. You have to think a little bit. You got to think a little bit on that end. That's all I wanted to say before we get into the sleeper cells. Was
no, and that totally makes sense.
I think that's even stage 2. I think that's all stage 2.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me, because it's like, what makes a good propaganda? Yeah. What makes a good propaganda tool is something that you can't explain, something that the public doesn't really know that much about, and something that the public fears. And that's like a virus, that's space, aliens, comets, asteroids, that's anything to do with nuclear weapons, for sure.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, that makes
and
full sense.
that's how you keep people into fear. Not to say they didn't exist, but and that's one of the issues that I'm having right now. And after we talk about the sleeper cells, we can play some of the videos of Candace Owen and the other people saying the same thing. Like, Israel has never signed that treaty that says you have to allow, you have to tell us if you have weapons.
Well, let's do that first. Let's do that first. We can play that.
Yeah.
Let's and then I want to
and you have to let inspections happen. So why are they the only country not allowed to do that? Right? And they go after everybody else. They're just the big bully, like United States government is, where they go in and just ruin places to get their banking in, to steal the poppy fields, which they did in Afghanistan.
Right.
Like, guys, you got to do your research. So I'm just trying to plug my phone here before it dies because
that makes sense, dude. It's like the military, is being used as a tool, and just like Wesley Clark said, if you have a really good hammer, you got to find a lot of nails or something like that, right? So every problem has to look like a nail. And then I do want to ask you about Candace Owens too, because there's a lot of people in the conspiracy movement, like the Q movement and stuff, kind of poo-pooing on Candace because she kind of turned on Trump, right? So let's see what she has to say here.
America wants a regime change in Iran is because Bibi Netanyahu is demanding it. And we also are completely done with the idea that with this decades-long idea that we're doing it to spread democracy because we believe in international liberalism. There was no imminent threat to the United States when Trump made this decision to do what Bibi wanted. And I want to be clear here. This was not Trump's decision. It was Bibi Netanyahu's decision. And that is the reason that he did it. And we're very aware that Israel is dictating our foreign policy, and we would now like that to stop.
Okay, but you wouldn't disagree, presumably, that Iran has been the main sponsor of terrorism in the Middle East through the Houthis, through Hezbollah, through Hamas. I mean, that's widely accepted and recognized. They've done
it widely accepted. No, that's just kind of...
Really? You don't think they have?
Has been a terrorist state. Okay, Israel right now is imparting a genocide and a Holocaust on the Gazan people. So I'm really over this idea like somehow Israel has the moral high ground and we have to get behind them.
I didn't say
because
that.
We got to go after the bad guys. So it's rich to me that people are concerned about Iran having nukes. But I'm concerned about Israel, who won't even admit that they have nukes, having nukes, while at the same time they are executing a genocide and a Holocaust in Gaza that the world is watching. So who's the bigger terrorist is the question.
But when the leader of Iran says death to America, why doesn't that concern you?
Why are they chanting death to America? Maybe it has something to do with just like killing 1 million Iraqi civilians, okay, because Bibi Netanyahu on a congressional stage and said there are weapons of mass destruction, and we took that to the bank and there actually were no weapons of mass destruction, so we just killed 1 million. It could have something, I could be crazy, it could have something to do with our actions in the Middle East. We know that Bibi Netanyahu funded the Al-Qaeda adjacent front because he wanted to overthrow Syria. Bibi Netanyahu funded Hamas. There is footage of Bibi Netanyahu saying this stuff on camera. So it's just so ridiculous to me to pretend that they're in some predicament, that they may be eradicated soon, which is why they have to keep funding all of these terrorist groups and then pretending that they're victims of terror, when in fact they are people that are imparting it worldwide. Okay? And again, these never-ending wars in the Middle East at the behest of Israel. Bibi Netanyahu was the one that called for Americans to invade Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, and now Iran, and we've done it. And we're done with the BS of, okay, well, they weren't really involved, Israel, in Afghanistan, because even when we fight those never-ending wars, Israel wins. Everybody knows that our boys were out there in Afghanistan guarding poppy fields, okay? And do you know what happened after we allegedly, quote unquote, lost in Afghanistan? What happened to all those poppy fields, those poppy flowers that our military was guarding? Well, the opioid crisis hit America via the Sackler family, who quite literally built the School of Medicine at Tel Aviv University. So we're just done, okay? And there's no way that we're going to go backwards. We're not going to allow you guys to emotionally condition us to go, oh, well, we got to protect Israel because of the Holocaust. It is over. They're imparting a Holocaust. America would like off this crazy train. Reason that America.
Dang.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I guess you guys didn't realize my computer crashed. So while you were playing the video, I disappeared. So I wanted to make sure I had to restart everything. Click the link.
Okay. Yeah, because we can hear you. They're
not liking what I'm saying today, I guess, because I just got
you got wiped.
I got wiped.
Your camera turned into just like an infinity mirror. So I was like,
yeah,
I don't know what's going on with Flex.
I moved so fast, being like, hey, we're going live here. I can't, just disappear on everybody. But yeah. Okay.
Good stuff, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing about Candace is, I don't know if anybody can just say that she was wrong there. Right. And
she's not.
Right. And I don't know the stuff that she's getting picked apart, like in the community for, is like she's turning her back against Trump. She said that she's embarrassed for voting for him. She said that, if she was like the troops, like she would tell her, like, the troops, don't go to war, just resist, because why are you going to fight a war for another country? Essentially, that's what it is right now. Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's getting a lot of heat. It's getting a lot of pushback. It's like, you're telling our soldiers not to fight for our country.
Yeah.
But I can see where she's coming from.
How many. Yeah, I agree. And we have to be honest here. How many people that have voted for Trump right now are very disappointed. And it's hard to say I wouldn't have voted for anybody else because the other side was just as bad. Interestingly enough, Greg, after the show, I'll send you some stuff because I just saw it recently where the New York courts have come out saying that Kamala had won some ridings and that there was, I'll have to send it to you. There's some shenanigans going on that it won't change the election, but at the same time, it's kind of like, did he really get in fair and square? Because he had Elon's help, and he actually says something in the Oval Office that people picked up on, and that just popped up today. And it's kind of like there's regret. There is regret.
There's always something, you know what I mean?
There's always something, but there is a bit of regret where people are like, I didn't want to vote for the other people, but you're not doing what you campaigned on,
right?
And you're not putting America first.
Well, and here's the deal. Like, if it was like he's taking all the slings and the arrows so that way he can expose people, then he would cheat in the election to expose the cheating, right? And then he would do all these things, like he was getting arrested so that way it set the precedent so they could go arrest other presidents and stuff, right? Like that was what we were told. And so I'm like, okay, well, we'll see if that ever happens. But like, you're doing things that these other presidents did. And that's where I'm like, it's not good. It's not the same. And
which you condemned. He condemned it before he was president. He condemned it. And it's like, did you just say what you needed to say to get in? Yeah. Like every politician does that. I'm sorry. Like, he's no different, guys. And I'm not here just to pick on him. I'm picking on every politician. I hate you all. I don't trust you all. And hate's a strong word from a Canadian. I detest you, all of you, because you're not making choices to help the people who are us, supporting and giving you this money for you guys to launder, get rich, buy your oceanfront properties that somehow the water level never rises. Like you want to talk black pill tonight? There you go.
Dude, it's hard not to be. I mean, when you see this kind of stuff, I want to think that this is kind of a weird, because it is weird. Like, Trump's calling it the 12-day war. He's coming out saying there was peace when I didn't see Iran come out at all saying there was peace.
No.
It's like Trump just came out saying, oh, yeah, everybody agreed to, have a deal and we're all good. It's like, wait, why didn't you all come out together then? Hold hands and sing Kumbaya, or at least have a press conference, all together. That would be nice. At least, have some face value with the people of the world, so that we know that no one's going to bomb.
And fake it for us so you don't lose your base. He's losing his base. There's no way his base can be happy with what's going on. And to coming up with excuses.
To be fair, he doesn't need his base anymore. He's not running again. So, I mean, unless he does like this magical third term thing that everybody seems to be pointing out, but yeah, if they ever expose the
2020, you know what? That's where they might say this was taken from you, so you get another term.
Well, that's
at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, like, I was excited he got in because I'm like, we've been waiting for this, and it's been a shit show since. And maybe it was so bad, Greg, that he's trying to clean up their mess, but he's making his own mess right now. He's not just cleaning up the mess; he's making his own mess.
Yeah,
he's poo-pooing in his pants. Like you're making.
Well, I mean, like Lionheart in the chat saying, didn't Israel strike Lebanon today? And yeah, they did. Right? That's what we're seeing.
Did they?
Yeah, we're seeing it all over the frickin' X, and I'm seeing videos come out saying, "Hey, Israel's bombing Lebanon right now." And Danielson is saying Iran came out and said that they won the war and defeated America. So it's like, who the hell really knows what's going on right now? And that's why I wanted to get into this whole sleeper cell thing, because where it's going, we don't know. And where it kind of started, the first time I heard about this, a false flag attack, was on June 17th. You had Anonymous coming out, and everybody, Anonymous is the Guy Fawkes flag, or Guy Fawkes face masks. And he had this message. I think we've played this on a previous show, but just in case we didn't, I'll just play just a little bit so we can listen to this. All right.
Hello, my fellow citizens of America and others across the globe. This is the Architect, speaking on behalf of Anonymous.
The Architect isn't like the great architect who the Freemasons said built the world.
17 days remain until we release everything. But first, there's something we feel the need to bring to light now. It may not be able to wait. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a warning based on extremely reliable intelligence.
Extremely reliable.
We have acquired verified information that a major attack is being planned on domestic soil. It will be brutal. It will be visible. And it will be blamed on a foreign faction, one from the Middle East. But that is a lie.
Okay, that's where I want to end it, okay? So he's saying there's going to be a brutal attack, a false flag attack, blamed on a Middle East country in 17 days. And that was from June 17th. Where does that land? July 4th.
July 4th,
right? America's Independence Day. And so that's what we're hearing all over the news. If you're looking through the news and you're just scrolling through like Iranian sleeper cells, you have The Hill coming out. Iranian sleeper cells, the Trump administration is warning. What could they do, right? They could be operating in the United States, braces for Tehran's response on these strikes of the 3 nuclear sites, right? And if you go back to like this plan, that's where I'm thinking like all of these sleeper cells, are they working with the Trump administration? Like, are they like planning these things to make it look like, yeah, we caught the bad guys? That's just one way I was like thinking about this. But then I'm thinking probably not. These are probably real sleeper cells wanting to kill and damage property.
Or it's a little bit of both, man. Remember, they have to fight fire with fire, and it could be a little bit. It could be a little bit of both. It's just my thing is like when 9/11 happened, not a lot of people were awake to what a false flag was and what the government could do to its own people. That woke up people years later. That's why I feel, even with COVID, that none of this can really happen again for a few generations, at least 20 to 25 years, because we're too close to it now. Excuse me. We experienced too much recently. We've woken up a lot recently, and recently from stuff from the past. So I feel if they do a false flag, there'll be too many people, not to say they won't, but there'll be too many people that will pick it apart, you know.
Not unless they do like 20 false flags at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's where
true.
That's where I think you throw the whole book out at the public. And I feel like there was a Q post that said, all hands on deck, they're going to throw everything at us, right? That's viruses, that's frickin' lockdowns, that's frickin' I don't even know if it's going to be like medical stuff like the jib jab, but you have like sleeper cells. I mean, this just came out, like 100 arrests or ICE arrests, 100 plus Iranian nationals across the U.S. amid sleeper cell concerns, right? That was from Fox News, the frickin' war propaganda machine, Fox News. So
remember they're the ones that called it early for Biden in Arizona or wherever it was.
Right.
That's where I was like,
well, that's because that's the plan. Trump had to lose to become the 9/11, right? The 45 and the 47. But like Operation Midnight Hammer and the threat of the Iranian sleeper cells, this is something like we're looking at coming out of the news. And, you know, the Center of Immigration Studies, you're having like this threat of Iranian sleeper cells being pushed in everybody's face, right? And for good reason, because we bombed Iran, and that's where it's like, okay, if you know that we have sleeper cells in the country, which FBI James Comey, back in the day, he was saying, yes, we have hundreds of sleeper cells throughout this country. They could be activated at any time. We don't know, right? If you know they're in our country, why would you go and instigate the country that could activate their sleeper cells in our country? Why are you poking the bear to like have it break out here? You know what I mean? That's not really defending our country to me.
No.
So that's step one. And, July 4th is coming up and you have all this kind of stuff. And I have heard there's like predictive programming of things happening on July 4th. You had the Top Gun movie where literally their exercise was to go do a bunker buster bomb in some like volcano type of thing. Like it was like surrounded. It was in a base surrounded by mountains.
It was like in a crate, like a meteor crate almost.
Right.
Kind of like good movie.
Good movie, but just kind of like, oh, okay, so that is why we're doing this. Okay, we're doing Top Gun. Okay, I get you. So then you have this Iranian media coming out saying that we have Israeli sleeper cells in the U.S., or at least they're trying to stage a false flag. And so everybody's like, well, that's just Iranian media, so we can't really trust it. I'm like, well, how can you trust our media? Aren't they the fake news?
At this point, if you still trust our media, and now it's crossed over to social media where I can't trust a lot of people. And a lot of people that we play on here say exactly what we think, but I don't trust Kenzo and any of these people, but they say they're saying what we're thinking.
Right. Well, there's no way that Candace Owens isn't controlled. I mean, that you have that many millions of followers, you're allowed to be on YouTube and you're saying the shit that you're saying.
Yeah.
And you have like sponsors, you're making money.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't trust that. Like, I'm like, okay, you should be losing money and being pulled off the air right now, right?
Yeah. You should be demonetized and you're losing your, you get a strike. Look, I opened my mouth tonight and my computer just shut down on me.
Yeah, dude,
didn't like what I was saying. Down.
Yep, totally.
Oh, but you're right.
So like this article is saying, if its campaigns against Iran falters, Israel may stage a false flag scenario similar to the USS Liberty operation to force the U.S. to engage directly in the Israeli war on Iran. Experts warn. All right. So whenever you hear that, it's like, okay. But these are the kind of bullet points that they said how they could attack. So this could be an attack on the U.S. assets in a region blamed on Iran or its allies, such as the Yemeni armed forces. It could be a domestic terror attack or an assassination attributed to Iran. Right? They were already trying to blame those, at least the first assassination attack on Iran. I remember.
Isn't there one of the Iranian leaders missing for the last week or so?
That was stated. Yeah, the Ayatollah.
Yeah.
They came out saying like he hasn't been seen in public for like a week. But then you have him kind of sending out communications. So it's like, is it really him? Don't know, dude. That's where I'm like, I think we will never know what's going on right now.
No. And you know what? I'm okay with that in the sense being like, it's been like that for the 50 years of my life. Like I said, I'm going to be 50 this year. And I'm sitting there going like, I don't see that things have gotten better over the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It's always been a slight kind of pressing on you. It's the last 5 years where they really just put their foot on your throat.
Dude, it's ramping up, man.
Yeah.
Just to throw these three out here. Another thing they could do is an Iranian air defense strike accidentally hitting a civilian jetliner carrying Americans. So that's like they're going to hit a plane out of the sky. Like, ugh. How many plane crashes have we seen? That's probably going to be it, right? They could use a dirty bomb or a radioactive contamination staged to implicate Iran. So like radioactive, you could have like a virus, right? We just heard about Nipah virus. There was like, this has kind of been a long time thing, but like Nipah virus, it has like an 80% kill rate.
Yeah, I heard
70
about
to
that.
80. And like they were studying that in the Wuhan lab too. I mean, the studies went on until 2022 or 2023. So
yeah,
I'm just saying.
And whatever happened to that troll Fauci, right? Like, we don't hear about it.
Yeah,
Trump doesn't even talk about Kamala. He doesn't talk about Fauci. He doesn't talk about anybody anymore.
That's true. That's true. And it's like, it is kind of like, well, I mean, why would you talk about Fauci when you have
just
Iran
dirt off the
going?
shoulder? Dirt off the shoulder. Done with.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things where I could see him like being like, it's not the time right now, but then you have like, I don't know, I don't know if we're ever going to understand what's really going on. And so that's why the news is really trying to solidify one thing. So Israel good, Iran bad. That's what we're trying to see. Okay. We want our public here to think if there's somebody attacking you and they look like they're not from our country, it's an Iranian. That's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll never know, because if we were to know, it shines a spotlight on them and what's really going on. And they will never let us know, because that's how you can control people. Right now, they're putting fear into people not wanting to enjoy the July 4th weekend. Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like let's just take away something that a lot of Americans, real patriots, enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. And like,
don't go out.
What a better
You're
time
scared.
to attack, America than on their Independence Day when they were free and like they're all together and they're having fun and it's like a celebration for them. You know what I mean?
And if that was to happen, does that bolster Trump's support? Being like, go get him, like when he got shot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it sells like the hoorah. You know what I mean? Like, how dare they attack us? They're
selling wolf tickets, and everybody does it. UFC's very good at it. Wrestling, like I said, everything's related to wrestling. You got to sell that ticket. You need the heel, the bad guy, and the good guy. And right now, Trump is kind of playing the heel a little bit. He's a bit of the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
He's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it, but give us something.
It's true. So I want to kind of dive into a little bit of occult stuff that I've been noticing and this trend with Donald Trump and some stuff that happened with this Jewish extremist. Okay. And just certain things that he said he's done in the past and like certain ties with what, even Osiris. Okay. The Osiris Egyptian myth. Okay. So here we go. This is what Donald Trump put out. When did he do this? On July something. July 23rd.
June 23rd.
June 23rd. So just a couple days ago, he said Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities within a very weak response, which we expected. Blah, blah, blah. There have been 14 missiles fired and 13 were knocked down and one was set free. Very specific and very strange. When I see numbers like that, I'm like, why would you even just say that? Just say like they fired 14, but only, hit 13. One was set free, like in quotes. What are we talking about?
Fucking code talking again.
You know what I mean?
So, God Almighty.
And
he's always capitalizing words, and then I'm always looking at it like, is this sort of like the Zodiac file, like Zodiac killer, where you got to decipher? What are we?
Yeah.
And if it's the art of war,
right? It's
okay.
I think he does gematria, and everybody just like thinks he doesn't know what he's doing, but I think he does know what he's doing.
He's not stupid, that's for sure.
But going back to Osiris, which I equate Donald Trump to, and everybody can go back and watch the Trump Osiris Raising of Osiris ritual episode that I did very, very long ago. That was probably like one of the first episodes I did. So you'll see me very bashful. I'll be like, I don't want to do this.
And that's a solo run. That's where Greg does the deep dives.
Right.
And
yeah. And I mean, so here's the deal is Osiris represents the foundation, the pyramid, America, right? The structure of make America great again. So Donald Trump wants to bring that back. It is the pyramid. When you look at the dollar bill on the back, you see the pyramid without the eye on the top, that the top is cut off. That is the representation of Osiris. It has 13 layers, 72 bricks. There were 72 conspirators who killed Osiris. I mean, what are the chances there? I don't know. Around the apotheosis of George Washington under the Capitol Dome, the mural of George Washington becoming a god, you have 72 stars, right? And it's said that stars are gods, like demons. When you die, they become stars, or when they die, they become stars, all that stuff. So
is that the same as like fallen angels type thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Or is that separate? Yeah.
Right. And so like with this 14 were knocked down, one was set free, right? So there were 13 pieces. And so that reminded me of Osiris, because Osiris in that myth, he got chopped up by his brother Set, who represents Satan, right? Into 14 pieces, scattered amongst Egypt. Osiris's wife, Isis, collects 13 of the pieces, but is missing one, and that one was set free. So there was 14 pieces, 13 of them were collected, one was set free. It was actually his phallus was the one piece, and it was eaten by a fish.
That's why I was pointing down, because I was like, he's talking about little Willie down there, folks.
Right. And so if you think about 14, Trump and 14, like his birthday was on the 14th. You had he had 14 days to figure out what was going on with Iran. There was an article that was like Donald Trump and 14 days is not new. Like he's done this numerous times. There's like, I'm going to give it 14 days. So he's always like around that, right? He had the military parade on the 14th. It was the day after Friday the 13th this year. And then I did put something else on the Telegram here. Where?
Like he's just as big with his numbers as the people that we want to see taken down and get arrested. You know, he's doing the same thing. And that's why I'm like, I don't know why people, and I don't know if he's trying to expose them or just expose himself and say, yeah, you know, I'm part of this too, but it's just a rebrand. We're going to do it my way, but we're still going to fuck shit up, you know? So
everybody get on Telegram. Everybody get on Telegram because I'm very active on there. I post a lot of stuff like this where you can deep dive, you can ask me questions, and then Flex is on there too. So like we can go back and forth. I'm on there literally every day. And it's in the Linktree account on Instagram, and it should be in YouTube. So the story about the Jewish extremists. So this was what I wanted to get into is there was a Jewish extremist who plotted to kill 14 Christian leaders. It came out the day of the new moon. So June 25th, you had a new moon. So the 14 pieces of Osiris is said to be the difference of the moon cycles. So from the time from the new moon to the full moon is 14 days. The time from the full moon to the new moon is also 14 days. So it's a 28-day complete moon cycle, right? So the 14 pieces of Osiris are the 14 moon phases. Okay.
Which is our original calendar. That's why it's sort of like we should have 13 months with 28 days each. Right. Because it follows the moon.
Follows the moon, follows women's menstrual cycles. It follows a lot of different stuff, right?
A lot of different things.
Water, tides, all that stuff. So in between the 14 days from the full moon and the new moon, we had Friday the 13th, where Israel bombed Iran in Operation Rising Lion. The story of the Lion King. That is a representation of the Osiris myth, okay, where you had Mufasa being Osiris, right? Mufasa was killed by his brother, Scar, Set, right? Mm-hmm. So Trump's birthday was on the next day, June 14th, who I argue represents Osiris. And Trump and others have also referred to him as a lion. Isn't that weird? Lion King, Osiris, okay. He even posted a video about himself being the lion is the king of the jungle. Mm-hmm. Also note that Jesus was described as the Lion of Judah. Okay, so he might be trying to do a little Christ, whatever you want to call it, replacement there. And then if you remember Tom Horn, he was Skywatch News. I think the founder of Skywatch News, he recently died. He suggested that the raising of Osiris ritual occurs at every inauguration of the U.S. president. And it happens at the headquarters of the Freemasons in Washington, D.C. And then this year, Donald Trump was inaugurated under the apotheosis of George Washington within the Capitol Dome. George Washington is the original Osiris, with Washington Monument representing Osiris's phallus. So there's a lot of linking these things together. Oops, sorry. Yeah. And then so you have like even Barron Trump riding on a lion in these videos. So this
lion.
This was that video.
He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane.
Like this is a different Trump, man.
He's so
That's
big.
not. We don't have the same dude.
He's so hot.
I just feel.
Now,
I don't know personally.
lion comes.
He's been out, but just his agenda. Like that's the dude that I lost friends over because I was like, yeah, he's going to clean up the fucking world. You know, he's going to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying there was a lot that I was like, okay, this is odd, because then you have this Jewish extremist come out and he murdered a pastor in Arizona. Okay. And he was, this is called Operation First Commandment. He had planned to kill 14 Christian leaders in 10 different states.
Wow.
And he started in Arizona. He started in Phoenix, where he was born. And he said that he wanted to end it where he was born, just like the Garden of Eden. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have several clips of this guy because I want to break this down, because I found some weird kind of connections to this and like what's going on with Donald Trump right now. And it's very strange timing to me. Okay. So
I can tell you're getting excited. Greg's excited because he's doing the old. Yeah.
It's very, very strange, dude.
It's very strange. Well, it's strange sauna.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
I am a little, listen, where's the Steamy G nickname,
yeah,
bro?
Yeah, you guys. I still got to get a nickname going.
Got a nickname. We actually thought Steamy G was great. So when I came on here, I was like, Steamy G. All right. You know, we'll talk after the show, Greg. You're changing it after the show.
Steamy G might be a little too porn star, but you know, we're getting there. I feel like we're getting there. All right. So this guy, this is a 51-year-old man with a Hebrew neck tattoo, and this says Yahweh in Hebrew letters, right? YHWH. His name is Adam Christopher Shafe. He admitted
always
to
3 names. It's always 3 names.
Exactly. Right. I mean, you know, I think they just have to say it so that way they don't go like, oh, is it this Adam Shafe? Like if there's another Adam Shafe in the world.
That's true. That is true.
So he's obsessed with the Old Testament, militantly opposed to the New Testament, and he hates Christians. He basically openly defied Jesus Christ during this interview. So here's the deal: is we had an interview happen. And this was, who did the interview? I'll try to find that info. It was, I don't have it on me right now. But anyway, I have clips from the interview. So hopefully we can find out there. But he basically was saying, like, he was awakened by God and shown the light of why Jesus Christ wasn't our savior when he was in the jail cell, and God sent him a message through his jail cell window. Okay.
Do we know what he was charged with to be in jail?
No. And that's why, like, people are going like, this story kind of doesn't really add up. It's just really odd out of nowhere. So I think like here is, let me see if I can download this video really quick and then we can play this. It's kind of like a news clip that kind of just explains. Here we go.
Here, he's accused of killing New River pastor Bill Shaneman, and he admits to our camera, to our Lauren Clark, that he is responsible for that brutal murder.
He made no bones about it. He says this was part
of
a
really
plan to kill 14 Christian leaders.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's going to be... So this basically just explains, this is the guy that he killed. This is Pastor Bill. Okay.
Poor Pastor Bill.
Poor Pastor Bill. Okay. And like he had no idea what was coming at him. And this guy just came up behind him, kablamo. And I do have some clips of the interview. Right.
And he killed him where, Greg? Like at the church?
He killed him at his home.
His home?
Yeah, he followed him home.
Damn.
And, you know, when I was looking through this whole thing, let's see. So here's the first clip that I wanted to share. Oops. You should be able to hear this one. And so he's explaining, like, why you chose 13, right? So here we go.
There's 13 tribes of Israel. So what I wanted to do was execute and crucify 13 priests.
Oh, can you guys hear it?
You can't hear it?
I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
Okay, let me see if the chat can hear it here.
Can the chat hear it?
I don't know. Chat, can you hear him talking?
Give us a thumbs up if you can hear him.
Yeah, that's going to be a while because they're on a delay, but
you're on a delay. But
just that's a bummer, dude. Yeah, if you guys can't hear that, then I don't want to play it. But yeah, Lionheart's saying he can hear it, so it must be something on your end there, dude. I don't know. Here, hold on.
Israel in each of their right ears, which I did with this priest. I put the tribe of Benjamin.
Well, play it, and I'll just read lips, and then you can talk about it. Because the chat can hear it.
Okay.
Whitney says I can hear it.
I'm playing it right now. So here we go.
I wanted to do for Adam, because clearly Adam was God's one and only created son in his image, is the first story told in the Bible.
Right. So he wanted to do 14 Christian pastors to represent the tribes of Israel. Okay. And when you look up the tribes of Israel, there's only 12, right? For the most part. I mean, some say like, well, there's actually 13th one in there. There's like, sometimes there's 14, and then you have to take out 2 because it's about who has property in the Bible. And that's why the tribes had property. And so the 12 tribes of Israel. And this guy's saying that there was 13 tribes, right? And I'm like, well, wait a second. How does that really work here? You know? And not only that, but he adds in a 14th one called for Adam, right? Because he's like, Adam is the first son of God and all this stuff. And so he needs his own tribe. And so you have the 14 and the 13th, right? So it's weird kind of things like the Iranian missile, the 14 and the 13.
I was just going to say, like this, the tie-in.
Right.
And is there a 1 in there? Because you said there's one, like there's the 14, 13, and Trump said 1. Is the 1 the person he killed?
Well, the one would be,
no,
the 1 would be Adam. So like he was going to do the 13 tribes of Israel, and he did 1 more for Adam. And so it's like, okay, that's strange.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can fix this audio here on the fly. I'm going to have to change it to this. Yeah. Sorry, folks. Let me just do something real quick.
It's because my computer cut out.
No,
and yes, Danielson, this is a professional podcast, but people can wipe us out in an instance.
Here we go. I think I got it. I think you should be able to hear it now. So let's just go through, like, this is part of the interview. And again, I'll have to look up who this lady's name is. So this is Shafe explaining the process of selecting the pastors to kill.
So when did this plan come to fruition? You're thinking about this. You want to carry out this hit list?
Yes.
A hit list?
Sure.
14 pastors?
That's right. Around the nation. To surround the nation.
Starting in Arizona?
Starting in Arizona, where I was born. Where it starts is where it ends, like the Garden of Eden.
How did you pick out these pastors and these preachers?
I just let the Spirit follow me wherever I landed. And the first one where I went was Olive Street, the Church of Christ. And I thought, well, that makes sense. There shouldn't be a Church of Christ. There should only be a Church of Yahweh.
Okay. So Olive Street, did you catch that?
Yeah, I did.
Like the olive branch and it's just, there's a lot of symbolism going on in this whole story. And I was like, okay, that's odd. Okay. So he's saying,
now, sorry, did they arrest him, or did he, like, how did they catch this guy after the first kill?
So he went back to go try to kill another pastor, and they caught him.
Okay.
So that's the story. But even that didn't add up, because he was saying like he's evaded the police like 100 times. And I'm like, well, why didn't you this time? Right.
Yeah.
So here's the next video where he's saying he selected Pastor Bill for the tribe of Benjamin. So he wanted to start out first with the tribe of Benjamin, one of the 13 tribes that he says. And he prophetically finds a murder weapon with the name Benjamin on it at a random house that he broke into. So check this out, dude. This gets weird. This whole story is freaking nuts.
He lived alone.
So you had no...
Hold on here. Here we go.
To myself, okay, I need to find pastors or priests that live alone. And so I set up another tent off of a Carefree Highway between 24th and 16th Street. And I was looking at those churches. And then I happened to stumble across the New River Church. And I followed him home, and I saw that he lived alone.
So you had no previous contact with Pastor Bill?
Zero. I didn't want any previous contact. My only criteria was you're breaking the first commandment.
Pastor Bill was innocent.
Innocent? in your perspective, there's nothing
Not
worse,
yours.
there's nothing worse than breaking the first commandment. All you got to do is just worship Jesus and you go to heaven. Your sins are all forgiven. That's not what God said.
But do you think God was going to forgive your sins?
Absolutely, he'll forgive my sins. He's a forgiving God. He's a loving God.
How do you justify that? I mean, if you're killing somebody or multiple people attempted,
okay, but
how does that work?
It's a commandment to rid Israel of evil.
You see Bill.
Yeah.
You follow him home.
That's right.
Here it is. Take it.
What happens next?
Then I follow him home. I see that he lives alone. All right. I go back to the house, or I go back to the desert where I'm camping. I need weapons, right? I need something to execute him with. So I go into a house.
Some random house.
I walk to a house and go into it. There's no one living there. And I'm in Phoenix for the tribe Benjamin. It's the first tribe up. And there's a rifle under the bed that has painted on it, Phoenix Benjamin, which was a pellet gun. But I thought, Benjamin Phoenix, that's what I'm supposed to use. I don't know, it was just crazy coincidence.
Okay, so he breaks into a random house. There's the word Phoenix Benjamin on a rifle underneath the bed. And he just walks into this random house that no one lived there. What? And it was a pellet gun, for God's sakes. So what are we doing? What are we talking about here? You're going to kill a guy with a pellet gun?
I don't know with this dude. It's just weird. I can't tell if he's a Christ actor or a patsy or
right
something. I just don't know.
Yeah, Miss Cupcake says his eyes. Oops, can you guys hear me? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this guy's creeping me out. Crap, what's going on with my microphone? Come on.
See? Everything's falling apart today.
It's happening, dude. It's happening. We'll have to just deal with it. Hopefully it goes away. Hello. Dang it. Okay. Well, I'm going to sound like I'm on an old radio. Can you hear me? Anyway, let's go back to this guy. Hello.
Just try your connection right at the top there. Just make sure. There you go.
Jeez. Okay. I'll just try to stand still. Anyway, here's the video of the guy explaining the murder. Okay, now this gets a little graphic, but just listen to how he puts this guy after he kills him. Okay.
Fast. I mean, it's, I didn't want it to be bloody. I didn't want it to be a painful. I'm not trying to torture the guy. I just wanted to execute him quickly. So I just put my hand over his mouth and told him to sit still, don't move, and wait until he stopped breathing.
What did you feel in that moment?
I'm executing a plan, and so in that moment, I wanted to make sure that he wasn't going to start breathing again. And then I took a stud finder, found the studs in the wall, and I had a power drill, and I put him in the cross position on the wall, and I screwed him to the wall. And then I had a crown of thorns I put on his head, and in a leather strap, I had hammered in the tribe of Benjamin in Hebrew letters, in large letters, and on the other side, I had the first commandment in Hebrew letters, that Yahavah alone is God. And I hung that from his right ear with a rusty piece of wire that I had through the leather strap that I already had pre-ready to go. Yeah. So I just punched it through his ear and hung it. So he's crucified against the wall with the image of Jesus, because what I'm saying is, what you're preaching is not what God said. It's the opposite of what God said.
So there we go.
What the fuck?
He crucified the man. He drilled him to the wall, and then put in the tribe of Benjamin, or there is only one God, or whatever. He's fucking crazy man. And then the crown of thorns. She asked him, how did you get a crown of thorns? And he's like, I made it. I was camping out in the desert, and there were trees with thorns on them, and I cut it and I made a circle out of it. Right. But here's the deal: is what about the rifle with the word Benjamin on it? I thought you were going to use that to kill the guy, right? And
so he smothered the guy to death?
That's what he said. He said I grabbed, put my hand over his mouth, but I'm like,
and this guy didn't fight back?
Right. Well, he's a 76-year-old man. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to listen? I'm saying this because I listen to the crime videos. Not that I personally had done this, just so nobody freaks out. It's very hard to strangle someone or smother someone to death. It takes a lot. Even a 76-year-old fighting back, but like plugging the guy's nose, I'm like, this doesn't add up. I didn't use the pellet gun,
dude. And that's like, Whitney's saying his drugs gone, or he's drugs gone bad or something like that. He did admit to like doing drugs, but he said like drugs had zero effect on me right now. Like I'm not being, driven by drugs and all that stuff. Like,
he's not doing it right. I don't know.
Okay. So now here is kind of where it kind of ties in with Trump and what's going on with him. Because Donald Trump, well, I guess let's tie in Donald Trump really quick, okay? We'll come back to this guy. But let me see. I'm trying to have my microphone not tweak out because I can hear it almost wanting to do it. I'm like, damn it. So while Trump was over at NATO, the NATO chief called Trump daddy. All right. And then this is kind of going all over the place, and then we'll get into it. But first, here let's listen to this, okay? Here they are sitting at the NATO summit.
I mean, we may do papers.
Oh wait, hold on. Can you guys even hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
On it, Marco. Maybe we're going to do papers. I don't even know if you need them. They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while, you have to use a certain word.
And then Daddy has to come in, use strong language, right? Daddy, you have Daddy come in, blah, 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 right? So then you have the White House put out something calling Trump Daddy. And I'm like, what? And they're doing this because that guy, the NATO guy, just called him daddy. And so like they're kind of just going along with this pun. And I'm trying to find it. Where the hell is it? Here we go. So like here is a tweet from the White House. Daddy's home. Hey, daddy. President Donald Trump attends the NATO summit in The Hague. Daddy's home, all this stuff, right? And you even had the other day, they were going to sell a shirt, or they had like this right here. I'll just open this up. So America's back, Daddy's home, and making the most wearable shirt design ever, part 1. And it has Donald Trump doing like this. Here, I'll just mute that. Right? It's doing all this stuff. He's dancing. Yeah, everybody's just watching. And then it says, Daddy home. Daddy's home. Right?
What?
They're making a shirt that says Daddy's home. And like I guess
World War. Look.
Right. And I guess this belongs to somebody because this person goes, hey, this is my shirt. Like, I'm selling it. But like all these people wearing the shirt already saying Daddy's home.
Oh, God almighty.
Right? The adults are in charge. Daddy's home. Daddy's home. You guys can go ahead and buy it.
I know someone in the chat. I know somebody in the chat's going to go right now and buy that shirt.
Yeah? I should buy it.
Let's go buy it. I don't call you daddy. I call you something else, but I can't say the word here. Brother.
Come on, brother.
Daddy's home.
Daddy's back. Right. Okay. So I think like that's trending right now. Like that whole like the NATO guy calling him daddy. He's like selling this shirt daddy thing, and the White House is all about daddy, at least the account. So now going back to the murderer, he calls God daddy. All right. So check this out. I'm going to hit my mic, hopefully. Okay, here we go.
Look, he's my daddy. So, you're preaching somebody else is, his son that's not his son. Well, where's Jesus in the Bible?
But I know you also have a family.
Where's Jesus?
Bill has a family. Mm-hmm. Did you think about that at all?
No, I'm thinking about the families that are in utter destruction, by following these false teachings and not obeying God and not giving our Creator the respect for giving families life to begin with.
Do you feel remorse for those who lost Bill as their family? Their father?
Well, I mean, no, because I lost, I lost he erased my daddy, He's saying that somebody other than my daddy's God. So daddy. Do I feel remorse?
But your dad's alive.
Well, my human father's alive, but I don't think of him as my dad. I think of God as my dad.
When did that come about?
That came about 9 years ago.
Why 9 years ago? What happened?
A light shot through the ceiling of my cell and into me, and ever since then I see the Star of David.
Ever since then, he sees the Star of David, he says.
Wow.
Isn't that odd?
I don't think you can see any stars in a cell, just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you looked up in your jail cell, the sun shined through, and you just saw the Star of David, and that, like, there's no Jesus Christ, and God is your daddy. That's pretty weird. And what are the times? Like, what timing? Because this interview just came out, right? He's been arrested for a while. God dang, Mike, dude. Okay. So that was the first thing that I found that was strange. Other than my microphone. Hold on.
No, you gotta get. Yeah, I'm
Hello.
just saying maybe.
Hello.
Your connection.
Okay.
There you go.
I just need it to last a little bit longer. Okay. Here he's explaining the states that he was going to murder the pastors. I'm gonna have to change my microphone. Hold on a second. Here we go. Let's get back on this. Here he's explaining the states that he's going to murder these pastors.
Final priest was where you were baptized?
That's right.
Why was that church on your list? Was there a...
It's personal because I start in Phoenix, starts in the Garden of Eden, ends in the Garden of Eden. I start in Phoenix where I was born on this life, and I'm going to end in Phoenix where I was baptized, which I don't appreciate, when I was 3 years old by my parents. You know, I'm baptized in a belief that is completely false. And from there was Las Vegas, Nevada, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Billings, Montana, Detroit, Michigan, New York, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, Mobile, Alabama, Beaumont, Texas, and El Paso, Texas. So 4 of them are going to get hit in Arizona. So I was circling the United States.
How'd you pick those states?
Just to circle it.
Just wanted to make a circle. Right?
Yeah, that's weird. And when was he planning to do this over what time frame?
So the first murder took place the night of Easter. So
Okay.
Easter Sunday. Right?
So this was a while ago.
This happened a long time ago, yes. And so he got caught, and now he's just being interviewed, calling God Daddy. We're having all this stuff with Trump Daddy. This guy was planning to kill 14 Christian preachers. We just had 14 Iranian missiles. One was set free, just like the 14 pieces of Osiris. The one piece, his phallus, was set free, matching the Washington Monument. Trump was appointed as the representation of Osiris, a.k.a. the President of the United States, underneath George Washington, the apotheosis, the first, America's first Osiris. I'm like, what are the chances here? Now, remember me telling you, and we were talking about Trump being the lion and the Lion King, like Mufasa. The whole story of the Lion King is a representation of the Osiris myth, like the raising and the dying and the raising of Osiris, the resurrection through the sun, right? Because it's a solar deity, like all this stuff. Like it's very strange. But so here he talks about he is the lion, and he also refers to God as daddy, and he's going to strike again. All right. So here we go. She says, most likely you're going to be in prison your whole life, right?
In prison for the rest of your life?
That's what you think. I want the death penalty because I want to show you you can't kill God's son. That whole story is BS.
So if you're given the death penalty, it's not likely you'll be executed quickly.
Well, I want it quickly so that we can get this show on the road and show exactly what I'm trying to do.
Would you want to be crucified?
Couldn't happen.
But is that
I
something
couldn't so much as dash my foot upon a stone. I mean, the cops, the dogs are coming at me. I saw my father had angels just direct them to the left, direct them to the right. Not one bit me.
How would you feel, though, if somebody crucified you?
Good luck trying. I have the plan to rid this earth of evil.
I mean, do you really think that this is normal?
I think these are the end times. These are the last days. I am the lion. I'm called evil, and the preacher preaching that someone other than God, the son of Satan, is God, is considered good. And so what did I do? I struck, because I'm everyone's oldest father, and daddy's going to strike.
Does he sound sane to everybody?
Yes, Greg, he does.
So, I mean, not shocking, but I'm just saying, like, daddy is going to strike. He is the lion. He is everyone's oldest father. The Lion King, Osiris, Mufasa.
Yeah. I mean, cocaine's one hell of a drug. You know, as Rick James. I'm Rick James, bitch.
Right.
Remember that, Chappelle?
Exactly.
There's something going on. I don't know if it's MK Ultra. I don't know. Like, there's just not a lot. There's not a lot of well people out there, and I would never make fun of the people that aren't well.
Right.
They're dangerous, but
unless you're a murderer.
Yeah, but it's just like you need to just stay put, my friend, and see some more stars.
Here's the last clip, okay? And like the reporter's trying to tell him, hey, you're cherry picking which commandments you're following because you're saying you shouldn't worship any other gods, but like you killed somebody, right? So you're breaking one of the commandments. Okay.
Not kill. That's a clear.
So here we go. Let me restart this.
You're cherry picking certain commandments to follow and not.
Sure.
How do you choose that and why?
Right. So it's difficult, right? Thou shalt not kill. That's a clear commandment. Also, there's a commandment that if somebody is preaching that somebody other than God is God, we are to execute them and rid evil of Israel. So I'm obeying that commandment.
So you're just choosing what works for you?
No, I'm choosing what God's commandments are. So yeah, you'd say, hey, on one hand, God is saying thou shalt not kill, but on the other hand,
it's still picking what you think matters most in the commandments.
Well, then
it's not following thou shalt not kill, clearly.
Well, yeah, but thou shalt not kill is do not hold anger in your heart towards your brethren and strike them where they die. If somebody is breaking God's commandments, like, during the Sabbath.
You've interpreted this how you see fit.
That's how God, that's the way God commanded it.
I don't think God said, go murder pastors. He just didn't.
He didn't tell me to do that. Absolutely not. I did that on my own. But it is a commandment. It is in the Bible that if if anyone's preaching that somebody other than God is God, breaking the first commandment, the punishment for breaking the first commandment is death. You replace who my daddy is, I'm going to nail you to the wall.
That's brutal.
Well, life is brutal. Satan is brutal.
If you go against my daddy, I'm going to nail you to the fucking wall. That's what he says. So I'm just saying, what are the odds?
She's pretty calm. I hope there's a security guard, a guard standing somewhere in that room, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. We don't know much of this guy's background, and because this happened in you were saying April, has anything come out with his background?
No, I mean, he was raised
it's always
Christian.
tied to military. Like, was his dad in the military? Because
I don't know.
We see a lot of the MK Ultra.
That I don't know, dude. And like, like Hidden Hand in the chat is saying like the same thing is happening to Liver King right now. Like Liver King out of nowhere, like he's just threatening to like be a terrorist to Joe Rogan and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
he was acting really weird recently.
Yeah, you have to look at like the trends that are happening in the media and the trends that are happening in social media and just be like, why is this blowing up right now? Right? And not to say that this whole story is blowing up by any means, because I mean, the YouTube, the full interview is on YouTube. Let me see if I can find out who this was, but like, it only has like 3,000 views. The reporter only has about like 3,000 something followers or something like that. Everybody can go watch it. Brianna Whitney. Oh, it has 12,000 views. Okay. My bad. But Brianna Whitney, Brianna with one N. All right. So she is the reporter and from like New River or something. I don't know. So anyway. Yeah, I was just like, what are the odds that you have all of these like 14s and 13 in like the tribes of Israel? He's saying that there are 14 of them when there's actually only just 12. You know what I mean? He's like stretching. And if you watch the whole interview, like he's back and forth. He's saying he did this, saying he did that. He just broke into some random house, happens to find a rifle with the word Phoenix Benjamin, Phoenix being rising from the acids, resurrection. Osiris is the god of resurrection, just like the Phoenix. He had to live and die in Phoenix, Arizona, just like the Garden of Eden. Like, freaking strange, dude. That's a lot of coincidences. Yeah. So I don't know. I just noticed shit like that, and if you want to follow that, get on Telegram, everybody. Yeah,
that's your T-shirt. I noticed shit like that.
Yeah, I just noticed strange shit like that.
Mine says I rant. Yours says I noticed shit like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, everybody get on Telegram, get on Instagram, follow us wherever you like. I mean, I'm on X, but honestly, there's no traction for me on X. So anyway, yeah, so that's the end of our show, Flex. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having
did
microphone
have a
issues.
Yeah, I did have a rant at the beginning, and I apologize for absolutely nothing.
Dude, that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of people being torn saying this ain't a plan. Trump's taking us into war for Israel to take over Iran, to take over the whole Middle East, so that way they can build greater Israel. They can implement a Rothschild bank and implement the New World Order. We've been tricked. We've been fooled, bamboozled. Right? So I don't know. I mean, Trump was talking about this stuff on the campaign trail and all this stuff. So, I mean, were you really bamboozled? Look at his cabinet, too. I mean, every one of them AIPAC's money. So I'm just saying. Anyway, closing words, Flex.
That's it. I just said I apologize for absolutely nothing.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing to be ashamed of. We're all just sharing our feelings here. So
I told Greg right off before we started, it's going to be hot and heavy for me today because it's just too much. It's just too much. But, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. Give us a 5-star rating, comment, especially in the chat, guys. I love that you guys are here commenting, but we're trying to find a name for Gregory.
Yeah, I need a new nickname.
Too vanilla.
Yeah.
Needs a name.
Right on, dude. Yeah, so everybody get in the chat, get into the comments, leave my new nickname, okay? It has to happen. We got to replace this Greg on the screen with something else, all right? G-Man, Steamy G. I mean, come on, baby.
I like G-Man.
Okay.
And Steamy G. It's just Steamy G. I like that too.
Yeah.
Steamy G-Man. I don't know. Combine the two together.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, hey, Flex, you stay safe up there in Canada, and everybody else stay steamy.